Another early weekend morning. It is Sunday, April 26th. April 26th. A little worried this morning. It was raining pretty much all day yesterday and all night. Got up this morning, it was still raining. I think that it's pretty much done. The sun's come out, the sky's turning blue. We might get a shower or two before it's all said and done. But hopefully we've avoided that. I am at Cedarville State Forest, just outside Waldorf. Going to try to put in over 10 miles today. This area is flat, so I ought to be able to make a pretty good pace throughout everything. Been up here before, Cub Scout camping, a little bit of hiking with the boys when they were younger. And then I've been up here mountain biking with them once. It's a good intro to trail riding because it's so flat. But a lot of territory I'm covering today I've never seen before, so that'll be interesting. I know it's popular with bikers. I know it's popular with horseback riding as well. Like most of these trips so far, I got to the parking lot this morning and I'm the only car there. So we'll see how many I see. With all the rain, it is a little bit muddy. I'm seeing a lot of bike and horse print ruts filled with water. So, we'll see how that goes. But, yeah, more to come. Proves to be a good day. In Caledon a few weeks ago, I mentioned how the dogwoods weren't quite ready yet. Clearly, they've started to pop. It's 42 degrees or so I'm bundled up more than usual, but it's supposed to get up to about 60 today, assuming that the clouds really do clear out. So I'm layered up. I'm probably going to be changing quite a bit. So not that this was much on my mind when I chose to come here, but it's sort of timely that I'm at Cedarville. We are, celebrating is the wrong word, but marking the 150th anniversary of Lincoln's assassination at the end of the Civil War. And Lincoln's assassination was 150 years ago this month. And the reason that's important to me right here is that Southern Maryland played a significant role in that. And in fact, Samuel Mudd's house is about 3 miles through the woods over that way, down to the south. So John Wilkes Booth, after the assassination, went back to Surratt's Tavern. If you remember, Mary Surratt was the one of the co-conspirators, first woman to be tried and hanged for treason in the United States. Anyway, he and another companion rode horses and found a doctor, Samuel Mudd, who set his leg and sent him on his way. John Wilkes Booth then escaped through the Zakiah Swamp. Cedarville is at the headwaters of that swamp. We're going to be crossing some of the creeks that eventually turn into that swamp here in a little while. So right through this area is where he made his escape, and then over into Charles County across the Potomac, and was eventually holed up on what's now Route 301 in the middle of Fort A.P. Hill in Virginia at the old Garrett Farm. and that's where he was cornered. They set the barn on fire, smoked him out. He was shot as he tried to make an escape there. So anyway, just sort of kind of historically relevant that I'm choosing today to walk around this spot. Again, happy accident. I had no real plan to do that up front, but so my plan today is to do basically as close to the overall perimeter of the park as I can. So I'm going clockwise on the orange trail, and then where that intersects with blue, I will pick that up and go around it. It'll come back and hit orange again, and then depending on time and energy and desire at the time, I'll pick up the white trail, do the perimeter on it, hit orange again, and then close out the loop. So if I'm doing my math right, that might even be getting close to 12 miles. So that's why I say it depends on how I feel when I get to white. That'll be by far the longest I've done on any of these little training hikes, but you know, I haven't really pushed myself yet. Sorry about the jet noise, but this is some serious beaver work here. You can see they have a dam failure. That bridge might wash away. That's a significant lake, and there's lots of trees chewed down. I don't see a lodge here nearby, but boy, these beavers have been busy. It's really impressive what they can accomplish. Wild turkey just crossed the road in front of me. Oh well, it was worth a try. It was definitely a hen, and I only saw one, which is kind of odd. They're normally flocking up about this time of year. Maybe she was nesting, and that would have explained her being solo. But every time I see one of those, I think of raptors from Jurassic Park, and I'm sure it's more because the movie tried to make them look like birds as opposed to the other way around. But still, it's just cool to see one. I'm right at the 4-mile mark, crossing Wolf Den Branch. I've now split off onto the blue trail doing the perimeter there, and taking a quick break to just take one layer off because it's starting to warm up some. Yeah, I don't think so. A tragic turn of events. I just hopped over a log when my elbow hit this little bucket of goodness over here, these dried pineapples, I think you can see. They hit the trail. Pineapples everywhere. This is one case where the 5-second rule definitely applies. Little dirt won't kill me. Little intersection. We're at Zakaya Swamp Run. So this is the creek that downstream a ways becomes Zakaya Swamp, which then ultimately coalesces into the Wicomico River, which then becomes, it flows into the Potomac River. So the interesting part is we got a creek coming in from across, and it's flowing nicely. I think there's a pond upstream it's the drainage for. I've just been following this little creek for a little while, and then Zakaya Swamp Run itself is braided into two channels around an island right here. So it's like a weird four-way intersection of creeks. It's kind of cool. But you can see the tannin color in the water. It's tea colored, and that's all from all of the oak leaves primarily, and the tannins leaching out into the water. I was feeling good, so I went ahead and took the white loop. Some of those other trails, as you saw, were surprisingly close up into the major creeks that run through here. A lot of beavers still. I didn't show you, but just downstream of that last spot where I was crossing Wolf Den Branch, the beavers had made quite a marsh, a couple acres worth, and then this white trail kind of crossed along that again and past another beaver dam. They're just everywhere. So it's interesting, just quite how active and present they are. This area, you can tell, is a younger forest. The trees aren't as big. There's a lot of pines in here, and the occasional big tree with a lot of branch spread, which kind of indicates that it was growing in the middle of an open field with not a lot of competition. And then all this little stuff is coming around it. Southern half of the white trail was mostly along old roads. You could tell it had been in a farm. So here, the forest is still relatively young, although we're seeing a lot of older trees the farther I go. But the trail is more like a trail, which is a whole lot nicer. I'll take this any day. They've also gotten rid of the gravel. There were some spots on the blue trail. The blue trail was really nice, by the way. Very secluded, running up and down those creeks and everything. And but there were some parts down there where they'd put gravel on the trail, and the only thing I can figure is to protect against mountain bikers who have been tearing it up, unfortunately. These little white flowers that hang down like bells on this plant's got a sort of a reddish tint to the young leaves, pointed ovals, and this is a tall one. Normally they're knee high, a little bit shorter, but this is a huckleberry bush. And all these little flowers are going to turn into clusters of berries late July, early August. I just passed a sign that said 3/4 of a mile left on the orange path. I am back on orange. I'm back doing the perimeter, and back on a trail that I've walked before. When all is said and done, I will have done about 10.4 miles, which is, as I suspected, the longest I've done to date on these little training hikes. So, working my way slowly up in mileage, which wasn't necessarily the planned intent. It's just working out that way. So, good news is I got a couple of good challenges ahead of me in totally new spots here locally. And we're going to start go do overnights with hopefully some of the other folks who are looking to do 140 miles on the AT come September. So hopefully I've still got a crew looking for that goal, and hopefully the overnight shakedowns won't ruin that goal. I've been slow today, and it's not my pace necessarily. I think when I'm moving pretty well. But I took a lot of breaks for pictures and doing little movies and just taking in the birds. I stopped just to listen a few times. So, been out here longer than planned, but hopefully Lynn and the boys will forgive me for being gone a little longer than I'd counted on. This just reaffirmed what I already knew about Cedarville. It's a nice place to come and hike. Several places where the trail's torn up by mountain bikes and it just, sort of muddy bogs. On the other hand, several places where it looks like in an attempt to prevent that, there's been a lot of gravel put on the road, and that's not all that nice. Several places where the trail follows old roads, and that's just not as nice walking. But in general, real nice place to get out and, I've been nicely introspective here, all alone again. I did see one woman walking a what looked like a beagle shaped like a corgi. It was definitely corgi, but all the beagle markings and color on it. Cute little puppy. But that was it. So other than that, I've been utterly alone out here, and that's again, it's nice in its own way. I don't know that I'd want to be alone for 10 days straight. So I'm hoping that we can pull a crowd together to at least help me out by being with me, 3-4 days at a time. That will much improve my logistics around resupply for food and fuel. And let's face it, it'll be safer and probably more fun if I got somebody to share it with. So here's hoping that everybody can make time on their schedule to make this happen, and that they're doing things similar to what I'm doing to make sure that they're in shape for it. Pack-wise, I'm slowly kind of making a list of the few gotcha items I think that I might forget otherwise, like bug spray, sunscreen, that kind of thing. But I think this is coming together. I'm gonna, sometime in the next probably week or so, tear my pack back down apart and make sure that everything I've got in it is exactly what I want, and it's not just the accumulated stuff that I've shoved into it. I know I'm still carrying some things for just to add weight, for example. I've literally got dumbbells in my pack. Little ones, but still. So, as I start to think about food, in particular, I'm starting to think about real estate. I've got this thing packed a certain way, and it's very useful this way. I went camping with the Cub Scouts this past weekend. That's right, I've had one bag night so far this year. April 18th, I was out with the Cub Scout pack at Goose Creek on base at Pax River. It was gorgeous. Anyway, I basically backpacked in, which, wasn't any hiking involved. We did do a day hike with the Scouts that I wore the pack just because, but what I mean is that I was self-sustained with the pack for the overnight, which was good. But anyway, you know, I've got this thing packed a certain way and it does work. But as I start to think about internal volume and that big unknown of where's my food going to go, I may really have to start making use of some of the external straps on this thing and doing a little bit of hanging stuff on the outside. And I mean more than just the you know, the tent under the top the way I've got it now. I mean hanging. So that's a refinement that's yet to come, but I may have to start packing some equivalent volume just to be thinking about that and get things ready to go. Anyway, I'm feeling good, and regardless of what else happens, I'm really enjoying doing these trips and exploring here, the local area. And I hope whoever sees these once upon a time is getting some vicarious enjoyment out of it as well. I'll see you next time.